Good day. I'm back with Mega Movie Numbers, where we run down physical media by the numbers. First, we take a look at the top 20 selling 4K Ultra HD discs of a previous week. I give you my thoughts and recommendations on every single title there. And then, of course, we get into the market share breakdown, where we look at all the different disc formats. DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks. We see how well they're selling in comparison to one another. And there's some shocking numbers for 4K this week, so I'm so excited to go over that. And then, of course, we talk about the future, make some predictions of where physical media is going next. So if you love collecting physical media just like me and being a part of this amazing league of mega film fans, you are in the right spot. Go ahead and mega smash that like and subscribe. That way you stay entertained and up to date on all the latest physical media topics. And leave in the comments below, what do you think are going to be the top selling 4Ks of this week? And of course, how do you think is physical media doing overall out there? But let's get into this list, bringing it up here. At the bottom, we got the Spider-Verse 2 movie collection. Yes, I love these animated movies. They're so entertaining, great stories, great voice cast, really unique animation, especially that second one just looks like a painting unfolding. So I love to see that back on the board with Sony Pictures. Next up, we got to have The Departed from Warner, and I still need this one. I didn't love the 4K slipcover or 4K steelbook design, so I can wait on a Black Friday deal. I will eventually pick it up though, because it is one of my favorite crime dramas. I mean, you got Marky Mark of the Funky Bunch in there. I need to pick that one up. Next up, we got Terminator 2 Judgment Day from Lionsgate. And of course, it's T2 because of all the other James Cameron titles selling so well. People went back to give T2 another chance. And I personally really like T2. The transfer doesn't bother me at all. And I just love that action movie. It's just so entertaining. Next up, we got a new title. Yes, Ocean's 11 from Warner. I really like this heist movie. I love the Vegas casino setting. A great cast, of course. So I need to pick this one up eventually, maybe in the future on a deal. Same with the next new one right there. We got Ocean's 13 from Warner, of course, again. I'm surprised Ocean's 12 isn't in the mix right here. I guess that's the least popular one, but I do like the Vegas setting once again, so that makes sense for me. Next up, we got True Lies from 20th Century. Once again, James Cameron titles just selling so hot right now. That's actually probably my favorite out of the 4Ks right there. It just looks so squeaky clean. I love the action comedy there with Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold. Next up, we got, of course, Dune Part 1 from Warner. Everybody had the hype around Part 2, so you got to pick Part 1 up with Part 2. It just makes sense. It goes hand in hand. But 4K looks breathtaking on that one and sounds so good. You can hear the sand. It's amazing, right? Next up, we got Planet Earth 3 from BBC Studios. I think I finally said that correctly, but it looks to be nature documentary style. I haven't seen this in 4K. I haven't seen this at all, but I heard the 4K for these nature films actually look really, really cool. So one of these days, I'm going to give one of these a whirl. Which one do I go with, though? That's the question. Next up, we got a new title here with Mean Girls. Yes, the new one from Paramount, and I absolutely love this movie. I do like the original as well, but this new one with the added music, oh my gosh, was so phenomenal. So many memorable songs, great cast in here. It was just a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite films of the year. I can highly recommend that one if you're into musicals, of course. Next up, we got a new one here with Ocean's Trilogy from Warner. If you didn't get the standalones, maybe you wanted them all together, that's probably the way I will go with them in the future when it gets a discount. But yeah, you get the whole Ocean's Trilogy in here, and hopefully they look great on 4K. But Warner just killing it with these titles. Next up, we got to have the Lord of the Rings, the motion picture trilogy from Warner again. It's like when Warner gets on a roll, they just keep going. I love all these Lord of the Rings movies. My personal favorite, Two Towers, but they all look great on 4K. And this trilogy pops up from time to time back on this list. So yeah, it's a phenomenal trilogy, just one of the best out there. Next up, we got Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Once again, you guessed it, from Warner. Warner just smashing it this week. I don't super love this movie. I do have it in the collection though, because I'm a sucker for those DC EU films. It is a step down from the first one, but there's fun enough action moments. I guess you could say that. Just doesn't have that heart I was hoping for. Next up, we got to have Oppenheimer from Universal. Yes, Universal getting on the board a little bit here. Oppenheimer 4K disc is going to be on this list for the longest time. Like I said, it replaced John Wick Chapter 4 for that 4K that just has staying power. So it's going to keep consistently selling. I wouldn't be surprised if this stayed on at least a year. Just phenomenal, phenomenal movie theater experience right there. And hopefully the 4K disc lived up to that hype. All right, next up, we gotta have, of course, The Abyss from 20th Century. You know, those James Cameron titles be showing up here. And I think The Abyss actually looks really cool in the 4K, very sharp with the water environments and the alien creatures. And really, it's just a visual experience more than a story experience. But nothing wrong with that. Fantastic. Next up, we gotta have Mean Girls, another new one to 4K from Paramount, but this is a classic Mean Girls. Everybody loves this one. It is amazing. I really like it myself. I think I like the new one a little bit more now, but this one is still so solid. Just so memorable. The burn book, all these characters wearing pink. I mean, it just started so many things. It's just so fetch out there, right? You can't complain too much about that one. Next up, we got another new one here with the Falcon and the Winter Soldiers, the complete first season from Disney and Marvel. Yes, I got that steelbook myself because Disney Movie Club bundle with it. Give me a little bit of a discount. Not going to last much longer on that because Disney Movie Club is out the door here in a little bit. But yes, I still need to watch my 4K disc. But I thought the show when I streamed it was pretty decent, like a buddy cop action movie. All right, next up, we got another new one here with Moon Knight. Of course, the complete first season again from Disney and Marvel. I actually like this one quite a bit. I thought it was really cool with the Egyptian mythology and all of that. It was really interesting to see the different personalities of Moon Knight there. So yeah, it was a little trippy, but in a good way. All right, next up, we got one that was trippy, not in a good way, in my opinion. Another new one here of Madam Web from Sony Pictures. And oh my gosh, if you like this movie, that is awesome. I celebrate that. But it was not the movie for me. Maybe I'll give it a second chance here. But oh my gosh, there was just something with the story and the dialogue. The characters weren't working for me. It's just, I don't know. It went wrong for me. And yeah, just can't handle too much Madam Web in my life. Next up, we got a new one here with Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. Once again, Disney, Lucasfilm here. I thought this was decent for a Star Wars streaming show. Not the best, not the worst out of them out there. You know, I'm more a Mandalorian fan, but it was okay. It had its moments. I'm going to give it another try because I did get this steelbook as well. Next up, our number one new one. And if you asked me to predict this before, I would not have predicted this one. But we got Star Wars Andor, the complete first season. Once again, Disney Lucasfilm killing it at the top here. I mean, Warner had the rest. Disney had the top, so that's fantastic for them. But yeah, I guess people love Andor. Once again, I hear good things about the show. I have not really checked too much of it out. A couple episodes, it kind of bored me a little bit, but I'm gonna give a watch to this 4K disc. Hopefully, it impresses me now. I'm gonna stick through it, get through that whole first season, and yeah, hopefully, I fall in love with this one. But I would have predicted another one of the Disney steelbooks to be number one, but I guess Andor just took it. That is pretty amazing to me. But an awesome list right here this week. A lot of new titles in there. We needed this to boost up some numbers, and that's fantastic. So many new titles this week. We had Warner smashing it, and then Disney once again at the top right there. And then, you know, a little bit of Sony here and there, maybe a little tap of Universal in there. But yeah, it looks like the studios were really killing it this week over, say, boutique labels out there. So usually we don't always see that, but hey, you know, just sometimes the studios just kill it with their new releases, and that's how it goes. But let's get into the market share breakdown now. Let's look at these percentages of dish formats. Let's bring up a couple home video charts here and then give some analysis. So, ooh, wow, awesome. Okay, I am pleasantly surprised by this. 4Ks, I thought were going to take a dip because you know 4Ks usually don't stay pretty high up for that long. Usually they go high up at some points and then boom, they just drop down, right? It's just unfortunate sometimes for the 4K format. However, 4K went up a couple percent here, 17%. That's awesome for 4Ks. Always love to see them about 15% or above. And I think it's just these new titles really boosting up those numbers. So many new titles to 4K, people just needed to pick them up, and that's fantastic for Ultra HD collectors out there. Now, Blu-ray is a little bit different of a story. Yes, they went up about 4 or so percent, which is awesome. But you know what? They're still in that 20 to 30% range. I don't think they're ever going to get out of that. I would love to see them at 40%, 45, 50, maybe. You know, that would be awesome. But I just don't think people are on the Blu-ray format train. They are still on the DVD train. And even when 4Ks and Blu-rays take a little bit more of the market share, we still see DVDs dominating as the clear king with around 55%. So even though they dipped down a good chunk from, above 60 to now 55, they're still always going to be above 50. I just don't see them dropping much lower than that. It's just the cheap, convenient option. A lot of people didn't switch over to Blu-rays. I'm guessing those people went over to streaming that wanted HD, and then the rest of the people were just collecting pretty cheaply with the DVDs because so many catalog titles are out the DVDs, and that's just been the format mainly supported by studios overall out there, at least for the mass consumer. I know it can be a little bit different in the collecting market, but that makes sense for the percentages this week. But awesome, once again, how 4Ks are doing. Now let's talk about the future. How is physical media sales doing overall? We're just making some guesses here, some predictions, and just trying to make some comparisons off of what we've seen from past data. Well, I bet you physical media is doing really well this week right here, where we had so many new titles come out, the 4K and Blu-ray. It just seems like they were selling like hotcakes, and a lot of the studios were participating in this. It wasn't just one studio getting out a lot of awesome new titles. It was a good mixture in there. So I bet you sales numbers from this week to say the same week a year ago are actually doing pretty solid. Yes, we know physical media overall in general tends to decline from year to year as we get into a smaller collecting niche market, but I bet you anything that this week maybe was a little bit of a bounce back, because the last few weeks, like we said, were pretty terrible. Not a lot of new titles there. I bet you this is just what the summer needed to really kick it off strong for physical media collecting. And I bet there's some weeks up there upcoming in the summer with some awesome new releases as well. So this is going to be a great summer, in my opinion, for physical media releases. I just can't wait to see where it goes next. But it is super exciting to be a physical media collector out there. But you guys are going to have to let me know, what do you think of, once again, the top selling 4Ks? Were you surprised by Andor? I know I was a little surprised. Then also, what about the market share breakdown? Were you surprised that 4Ks were even not only able just to hold on to their number, but boosted up just a little bit? And yeah, let's have those fun movie conversations down below. And of course, if you haven't already, go ahead and mega smash that like and subscribe. That way I keep you entertained and up to date on all this amazing physical media analysis, number goodness, and the future. We cover this every week. You're going to want to stay informed. So we got to turn on that notification bell so you're alerted when a new video posts, and just have a great day talking them movies. Of course, you'll love this physical media topic. Mega smash the next one right now. And thank you so much, my Mega membership supporters. If you love talking and collecting movies, consider joining the Mega League of Film Fans through memberships to support content creation while gaining access to perks like shoutouts, exclusive videos, and future topic choices.